Holly Pesci, and this is Barnes & Noble Tagged. There is nothing like the thrill of a good page-turner to get your heart racing and your adrenaline pumping without ever leaving your beach chair. Today's show is filled with books that will do just that, beginning with the latest from Daniel Silva. Daniel Silva has been called his generation's finest writer of international intrigue and one of the greatest American spy novelists ever. His books are not only addictive page-turners, but sophisticated stories told with beautiful prose. He was here last year on Tagged with Moscow Rules, which, by the way, became a #1 bestseller. He is here today with The Defector, his 12th novel and the 9th to feature his hero, Israeli assassin Gabriel Allon. Daniel Silva, you've been tagged. Thank you so much for coming back. Welcome back to Tag.
I've been re-tagged.
Yes!
And it's really great to be back. Thanks for having me.
We are so thrilled, and I am so happy about this book because you know how much I love Moscow Rules. Everybody out there wants to know. It continues. Ivan Kharkov. We learn more.
We do learn more. There's a wonderful quote from Machiavelli that I use as the epigram of the book, that if injury has to be done to a man, make sure it is so severe that his vengeance need not be feared. And I think Gabriel probably would have been wise to heed that advice at the end of Moscow Rules, because he had no choice but to leave Ivan Kharkov alive at the end of that story. And he did something terrible to Ivan. He brought one of the most dangerous men in the world down, and that man now wants revenge. So he made a terrible enemy, and pure and simple, the Defector, excuse me, is Ivan's revenge.
The one thing that I think is so great about this book, it's also a love story, and there's great women throughout the novel.
It is a love story. It is a scary, terrifying, sometimes extremely violent love story, but it's a love story nonetheless. It's a fable about the power of promises, and it is populated by 3 or 4 of really great female characters. In fact, the plot turns in it as each of these women come on the page. They play incredible roles in how it's resolved. I am a unabashed feminist. I am surrounded by strong women, and they're real characters too.
Yes.
They're not cardboard cutout characters.
Not at all. So we were thrilled to know that Moscow Rules debuted at #1, and I have a feeling
it was tagged. It was all because of Tagged.
Oh, we hope so, because we love you and your books. And what inspired the book? Because it continues on where the last book left off.
Well, clearly it was a book I felt I had to write. And I got some great advice from a dear friend of mine that you all know named Henry Winkler.
The Fonz.
The Fonz,
Yay.
a gifted writer in his own right. And a lot of people don't remember this, but a very talented producer as well, a person who knows story. And after Moscow Rules, he said, you know, when you're thinking about the next book, he says, I think sometimes Gabriel, he's a little too cool. He's a little too detached. He says, I want you to do something to make him really mad. I want you to get him so angry. And so I took that advice to heart.
And Gabriel, I mean, he goes through really tough times, and he is incredibly tough. And we see that kind of a throwback to that assassin of his younger days.
There are many allusions throughout the series that he shares characteristics with the Archangel Gabriel. And in this book, when something terrible happens to Gabriel that we won't talk about here, a switch gets thrown. And the fire gets lit, and he does things that he normally does not like to do. He does operate by a moral code, and his life will never be the same because of it.
Well, the book is called The Defector. It comes out next week, and it's fabulous.
Thank you so much.
It is a read that you started and you cannot stop, which is the best kind.
Thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you
so
so
kind.
much, Daniel.
Thank you.
Here's a tagged close-up. After Sean Penn wore them in the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High, these shoes became the uniform of dudes. And the fun and flashy pictures of this book capture the soul of the wearer. Vans Off the Wall illustrates through vivid photography and a compelling oral history how a casual canvas shoe and a do-it-yourself spirit have helped turn pop culture inside out. Vans Off the Wall tells the multi-generational story of the community that encompasses boards, bikes, art, music, and street culture as well as the iconic shoes keeping it all together. Vans Off the Wall provides an intimate, visually stunning account of how the company has changed the face of pop culture since its founding in 1966. The book features photography by the top action, sport, and lifestyle photographers in the world, all presented with an energetic design that evokes both a punk scene aesthetic and California coastal cool. And that's our Tagged Close-Up. Every week, we take a look at the latest offerings in the world of books, movies, and music. And these are my top tags for this week. Feeling friendly at number 5 is Best Friends Forever by best-selling chick lit writer Jennifer Weiner. Best Friends Forever is a grand, hilarious, edge-of-your-seat adventure, a story about betrayal and loyalty, family history and small-town secrets. It's about living through tragedy and finding love where you least expect it. Coming together at number 4 is Undone by best-selling author Karen Slaughter. Undone is a spine-tingling mystery as 3 people with their own wounds and their own secrets are all that stand between a madman and his next crime. On the money at number 3 is The Accidental Billionaires, the founding of Facebook, a tale of sex, money, genius, and betrayal. Ben Mesrich, the best-selling author of Bringing Down the House, pens this incredible true story of the accidental creation of Facebook and the even more amazing tale of what followed. In the neighborhood of my number 2 tag is Take Me Home, the most recent recording from Celtic Thunder. Since March 2008, Celtic Thunder has spent over 45 weeks at the top of the Billboard World Music Charts. Take Me Home features almost all new material, including their unique take on The Police's Every Breath You Take. Rooted as my number 1 tag is Grey Gardens, the DVD, starring Drew Barrymore and Jessica Lange in this fact-based drama centered on 2 eccentric relatives of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. Extra include clips from the 1975 documentary of the offbeat relatives and interviews with the stars Lange and Barrymore. And those are my top tags for this week. Apologies, I gotta go. The Defector needs its pages turned, and I am just the girl to do it. See you next time on Barnes & Noble Tagged.